So yeah, welcome everybody. If you are seeing us on LinkedIn, we can hear you, or we can't hear you and we can't see you because you're not in the live with us. If you are here and you are registered for the live Zoom call, you can hop in here with us. We can see you, we can hear you, we can chat, you can stick your hand up, you can interact with us and do all the fun things that Zoom can do. There's also a chat feature at the bottom of your screen where you can ask questions, and we're happy to take those questions throughout the session today. But while we're waiting, just to double check that everything is streaming correctly to all the places, we will just double check that before we get into the nitty-gritty of all the good stuff that we're going to be sharing with you guys today. So just give me a sec while I look across mobile, website, LinkedIn, and everywhere else where we're streaming. If you're joining us on the live Zoom, we've got about 14 people in here with us at the moment, so that's a good news, good sign that everybody's here. Welcome in to this fantastic session that we're having with Nucleus Links today, where we're going to be telling publishers how to earn more by doing less, which is something that's always music to my ears. I don't know about the rest of you. And joining me today is Cornelius Frey. He's up there on your screen, so give everybody a wave and say hi.
Hi everyone. Hi Leanne. Great to be here.
Yeah, really good to be here. We're going to get down and dirty in a minute and we're going to have a look at all of this cool stuff that you're going to share with us today. If you're joining us on LinkedIn, just remember that you need to come into the live Zoom if you want to interact with us and ask us questions and, really utilize this time with us effectively to get the answers that you need for your publisher business. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are worried about what's happening with zero click, about what's happening with AI, about what's happening next year. And we're going to get into all of that and show you some really cool case studies of how publishers are already using Nucleus Links to earn more and do less. So welcome everybody on. It is a pleasure to have you here. My name's Leanne. If you haven't met me before and you haven't been on any of our wonderful webinars that our team creates, we usually get some really cool people on and we talk about some really cool stuff. It's very interactive and we love actually having people here with us to actually ask questions and use this time wisely. So thank you for being here. And as I mentioned, joining me is Cornelius Frey. He is from Nucleus Links. Cornelius, I'll hand over to you now to introduce yourself and just share a little bit with everybody about what you're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining. Hi Leanne. Thanks for hosting us today.
Yeah.
I think those short four words sum it up pretty well. What are we
Mm.
here to talk about? Amid all the gigantic challenges and complexities of affiliate publishing, how can you actually make the money that funds your operation, funds your distinctive content as a publisher without, breaking the system or breaking the team on the operational side, uh,
Yeah.
doing less, automating more? That's the broad thing of what we're talking about today. And that's really what we're about at Nucleus Links for the past 2 years, having built what is by now virtually an AI-driven operating system for affiliate publishers. More specifically, and to make it tangible and real, we're going to be looking at an actual case study of a UK-based buy now, pay later player and how they did precisely what we're talking about here. What I thought might make sense before we jump into that case study and, as you say, getting down and dirty in looking at the operational details, what really happened, thought it might make sense, Leanne, for us to quickly scope out the general environment that all our publisher partners and some of you guys joining the call today are probably finding yourselves and themselves in. And I mean, you mentioned some interesting statistic that you had
Yeah.
read about. Want to share that with us?
Yeah, so just this week I read a really interesting stat. I think it was published by Partnerize, actually, a recent report that they published, which was saying that they had assessed Black Friday and they saw, I think it was a 7% increase year on year. So people were shopping more over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday space, but that conversion had decreased by 17%. So proving out what we're going to be talking about today, that every single click now really does count for publishers if they want to continue to be making money and be optimizing all the work that they're doing to actually be in front of those consumers at key periods. So I think it's quite timely that we're here today to talk about the shift that is happening in affiliate operations and around us, the changing consumer buyer behavior, the fragmented marketplace where you can now go and find source products and then purchase them. So if you're a publisher, I would imagine that you're getting quite concerned. And if there are any publishers here live in the Zoom with us, stick your hand up, use the like apps and things in here to just give us some feedback, or type in the chat. Are you actually worried about what's happening? And are you worried about protecting the profitability of your profit margins? So give us a shout in the chat if you are. But yeah, if you're still a bit shy and it's still a little bit new to Interact Live, then don't worry, we'll call on you later. But yeah, I mean, I know that affiliates are concerned. You know, I've spoken to a lot of publishers recently, and they are looking at how do we protect, how do we, recover from the losses of our traditional SEOs, traffic, and all of that is feeding into what you guys are going to be sharing with us today.
Yeah, and I think that statistic that you cited sums it up very well. First of all, 7% growth. This is still a great market to be in, right? We're not seeing contraction in overall shopping volumes. People are out there, they're looking for orientation, they're looking for the right deals,
Yeah.
and they're buying. That is, like, by and large, really important. While we're talking about all the challenges, being affiliate publisher is still a great play in a great market. You just need to get some challenges right. And you touched on one big one there, which is rise of AI overviews in particular, but also, of course, LLM search and even transaction volume starting there. So clicks are under pressure. We've got some publishers, leading publishers, who've got 40 to 50% traffic reductions. Others are holding up perfectly well, but are prudently preparing themselves for the potential wave to come. Where do I need to excite and retain my audiences in the future? And that, as you say, Leanne, means every click that does happen, and we're not at 0 clicks, matters so much more. Where are the challenges? What we're going to be talking about? What do we hear? Virtually all affiliate publishers tell us, whether they're big, giant, industry-leading operations or nimble little speedboats.
Yeah.
One is the operational overhead, right? Just the manual amount of work that doesn't go into what a publisher really needs to do best, putting out the content there, the great content, whether that's offers or editorial content that excites their audiences and keeps them coming back, and striking great commercial deals at the top end of the partner universe. That's the essence of being a great affiliate publisher. What we see so many folks struggle with instead is menial, boring, repetitive, non-value creating work, like fixing broken links, anchoring for approvals of signing up to new networks, getting the right deals, trying your hands at yield optimization while chasing after an unreachable goal there. So just the sheer overload of manual operations is one. Second part, I think, again, very curious to also hear from the audience and get a mirror, thumbs up or thumbs down, how even the very best and biggest affiliate publishers in confidence in private will still tell you, of course, we have our either proprietary analytics setup or using one of the big platforms, but to a much too large extent, still flying blind, not able to put really all the intelligence that there is around where am I making our money, what content converts, what verticals, what products really drive my margin and bottom line. In private, most publishers will actually confide in you that the analytics setup isn't all it's cracked up to be. And I think lastly, before we jump in, a renewed commercial reality in the affiliate business, a real seismic shift that I would say 40% of publishers don't even fully know about yet. And a big chunk of the 60% that know about it haven't really had a chance to adapt to it. How do I deal with my long tail of merchants? It used to be the case that you just find a primary or secondary network, set it, forget it, and hope for the best. And that was a fairly okay strategy to go for most of the last 20 years or so. Now that has gone from being a fairly okay strategy to a commercially suicidal strategy, as the shift that's happened in the market that we're seeing is that merchants put budgets behind lots of different networks from lots of different pots of money. It's not just affiliate budgets that are available to affiliate publishers now. It's social, display, search, and lots more. And the networks are bidding dynamically. That means for every single click, likely the best deal is available through a different network. Yet the reality for the vast majority of players, for the long tail of merchants, is still pick one network, hope for the best, run home. And that means bleeding potential revenue. And I think that's something that we're quite clear on. No publisher can afford losing 50% of their potential revenues these days due to lack of optimization. So that's sort of the wider scope of the landscape of the industry where we find most of our clients and potential clients operating. Anything else, Liam, that you're seeing as pressing on everybody's mind now, post Black Friday?
No, I mean, I think for me, it's just everybody wants to know how do I do more and
Jump
earn
in.
making less. So let's crack on and show us how.
Absolutely. Example we're going to look at today is Zilch. The Brits among you will know Zilch, one of the friendlier faces of buy now, pay later, zero default, zero nasty tactics, no late fees, none of that. Incredible app universe, super successful, very capable team, very data-driven team.
Very much so.
And yet also facing some of the challenges like all the great affiliate publishers out there in their day-to-day work. So managing, I think it's 5,200 or so retailers, multiple networks, and the parts that we mentioned, discrepancies, dashboard hopping, link checks. You really have one of the best teams in the industry here screaming and complaining that the day-to-day reality doesn't live up to the potential, but that some of those brightest minds are spending their days doing incredibly manual work while having that gnawing feeling that the revenue isn't really living up to its potential. So how?
I know the guys at Zilch as well. They're a really great team, and they are very, very data driven. They also reach, I think, 5 million plus users in the UK. So if we just talk about the UK alone, their capability of targeting customers with offers at certain times, certain places. I mean, they could be a really strong partner for a brand. Yeah. If everything works correctly. And in an ideal world, we want that to happen. So tell us, why did they come to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you say is great. They are a great partner to all the brands they work with across industries. They are an incredibly challenged partners. Where things fell short was internally, behind the scenes. Successful brands advertising with Zilch, happy 5 million users. It's just that the pressure on the team to make this happen as the business is growing grew tricky. What did they come up to us with? How do I simplify my operations rather than wangling a million Excel files in internal and external reporting? How do I make sure I don't put any of my existing, very strong revenue at risk? And also, how do I, when we keep saying there's 50% of your revenue that gets drained, that gets lost along the way, well, you can be very certain that a team at Zilch will not be hearing that without saying, let's go get that money. So at the end of the day,
leave the money on the table.
You
can convert it, right? That's why we're all here.
Absolutely. Let's get real. What did we do for Zilch? First of all, Zilch has been working with a number of networks, both CPA and CPC, and has strong relationships there. We analyzed their merchant mix and found out that there's a whole number of attractive, relevant, reliable networks that they weren't yet working with, but should be given their specific merchant mix. Quick plug, if you're a publisher, if you're wondering, do I have all the right networks signed up? Shoot us a line, Cornelius@affinity.com. We'll very happily, swiftly, and for free do just that quick check. Who ought you to be working with? We did that with Zilch. And it turned out, while they were overall very well plugged into the right programs and networks, there was a whole number of networks that were missing from their mix to extract the maximum earning per click. And yet, as all of you publishers will know, massive pain signing up to new networks directly, getting the approvals, getting the legal process, getting, that whole thing can often mean distracting an operational strong team for 3 months or more with uncertain outcome. And once I'm on that program, does that really drive incremental network revenue? Hence, Network Plus, Nucleus Links feature that has pre-negotiated access to switch on a dozen additional networks, add no effort, no additional approvals, no legal process, and passes on the demand, if you will, from those networks directly to the publisher. So taking all the headache out of finding who they need to be working with, what is my optimal network mix, and then building the pipes to getting access for all your clicks to those networks. That was something that they'd had in mind They'd always known, well, we probably ought to be something here, but Network Plus made it easy to do that literally at the cost of a digital signature and the click of a button to get access with a single contract, removing all those operational hurdles. Now, that's nice to start with, but we discussed who does the work then with 5,000 merchants to decide for which merchant do I use which of these additional networks. Well, that's where Smart Redirect comes in.
Okay.
Smart Redirects really is at the core of our AI platform. And it means that going from setting one network or sub-network for a given merchant and hoping for the best, to using a Nucleus links layer. You put in one single Nucleus link for each merchant, for each product, and then having a real-time AI engine that decides where is this click for this user in this geography at this time of the day best routed to maximize my earning for that click. And what most people who are less familiar with what I briefly mentioned up front, the new dynamics, the seismic shift of how networks operate and put in their, if you will, bids for affiliate clicks, most people expect a 5 to 10% optimization potential. Most things that you somehow optimize with AI a little bit, sure, there's another 10% juice there. Is it worth the squeeze? The interesting part here, and we'll get to the results in a little bit, there is so much more upside potential. So this is what really moves the needle. I'll keep you waiting for the results for a little longer. Link scanner. Manual link checks were something that team was wrangling and sort of wrestling with, wondering about night shifts. What happens if an important link breaks at night? No longer to worry. Nucleus Links has a link scanner feature that identifies broken or inactive URLs or just something where no money is coming through, identifies the core issue behind that. Because again, even the most sophisticated publishers out there will be telling you more often than not, a broken link gets detected because somehow, hey, why are we not making money on, sneaker commerce brand X anymore? Must be something wrong. Let's see. And then you find out that 5 days ago, something happened and the conversion stopped materializing. That is something that no serious publisher can afford to entertain in their operations. And we're fixing that. And of course, lastly, that centralized dashboard that pulls in all the different networks' commercial data together and lets you slice and dice where the performance really comes from, where the content teams and deal teams need to be doubling down on, which geographies, products, merchants are driving the biggest revenue and making that not just accessible. I think what we're finding is in analytics, the first step is the data needs to be there. And for many, many publishers, it isn't. But it's not, it's just accessible, it's actionable. Making concrete suggestions on what do I do with this insight now is what we pride ourselves on our analytics product.
So I just want to
Any questions on that? Yeah.
There was 4 key areas that you helped. So the first one is the onboarding process. So how do I find the right offer in the right network at the right price? The second thing is there's an AI plugin that can actually help you decide where to route that customer for the fastest, easiest, quickest conversion. And then you had on the second screen a link scanner that fixes any broken links, so you are not leaving any money on the table at any time. Will it also swap the link so that if a link is broken for some reason, say for example, if Nike had, their Air Max trainers on Awin for $99 and that link breaks, will the tool then swap it with Nike Air Max on CJ, for example?
Great question. That's the power of the tool, because all you have now is one uniform Nucleus link. There is the clicks get rerouted to a channel where then, given that there's no money to be made on the broken via the broken network, it gets rerouted to where I can make money. And that's the power. We don't need access to, the CRM or anything, no complicated access rules. It's just once the click passes through the invisible AI layer at Nucleus Links, indeed, as you say, Leanne, it gets rerouted to wherever we can make money.
So basically, you're making money faster. You are simplifying your life because you don't have to apply to a million platforms and remember who's accepted you, who hasn't, and then deal with a million links. It'll also then fix your broken links so you're never losing money while you sleep at night. To me, it's a win-win. Like there's no downside here. And then you've also got analytics, which I'm sure is probably the layer that Zilch has used in order to go really deep and understand which partners work best with which customer segments and had like almost like a secondary layer of stats that normally they wouldn't have because all they get is what the network gives them, right?
Absolutely. And maybe to add to what you're saying, Leanne, just two quick thoughts. One is a big question, obviously, that always comes up. Okay, with your smart auction algorithm, you route the clicks to the highest paying network. What if I have a direct relationship? I don't want to have content partnerships. I have, my
Yeah.
20, sometimes, 80% revenue comes from the 20% of my most important partners. And something similar is true for Zilch, actually. One thing we definitely do not want to mess with is those most important relationships and, putting them at risk by suddenly routing all the clicks through non-direct relationships. What publishers do there, what the most commercially capable publishers have been starting to do is to say, I am keeping my direct partnerships. Nucleus Links is for auctioning the traffic on the long tail that so far I haven't been able to look at in detail and optimize. But on those partnerships, those direct partnerships, let me use a tiny percentage of the clicks and send them up via the auction system to find out, are there occasionally, at certain times of the day, at certain times of the month, for certain users, are there temporarily higher commissions available? Now, that's a very powerful insight to then go back to your next deal negotiation with the merchant with. And rather than saying, we've been doing great work, can we raise commission from 7% to 8%, to say, you know what, we love our partnership. We want to keep this going. It's fantastic. Our users love it. And yet what we see out there in the market is higher conversions are partially available. Let's adapt our deal accordingly. So strengthening the relationship, but also strengthening the publisher's negotiation position by having a data-driven nugget of insight and actually available EPCs to bring to that negotiation table.
All right, so we got some questions coming in. I'm just going to check if we can just break there before we get into the numbers, because everybody's going to want to know, okay, this is all fabulous, but what does it actually do? So Philip, he's come in and he said, wait, so the link scanner finds the product on the marketplaces, chooses the best affiliate program. That's correct, I think.
So link scanner just scans for broken links, smart redirects. Indeed, I mean, they are joined at the hip, obviously. Maybe Philip, let's go into a little more detail what actually happens. What happens if a link hits the Nucleus Links, if a click hits the Nucleus Links AI layer? Over time, traffic gets sent out, a tiny percentage of traffic gets sent out across all networks.
Yeah.
Opening up for each merchant and for each publisher a silo of insight. Where do I have the highest expected earning per click for that particular click at the time, based on an AI analysis of historical data, taking into consideration scrub rates, conversion rates, commission rates, or CPC, both, putting CPA and CPC networks on an even footing, and driving a prediction, where might I be able to extract a higher earning per click for this click happening right now, based on all the statistical info that the system has been gathering by sending training clicks across all networks over a period of time. So it's statistically driven. And what that means in the end is you don't have real-time bidding as such, because not all networks, especially the CPC networks, reveal, or the CPA networks, given the conversion dynamics, you don't have an even playing field as you would in display programmatic to just say, just shoot it to the highest bid. Nucleus Links creates quasi real-time bidding by being able to quantify the expected earning per click, given all that statistical mass of data from historical trial and training clicks for each click for each merchant.
Okay, Philip, I hope that that's answered your question. And guys, if you have questions, please keep them coming, because we love that. We love interaction. We're looking across LinkedIn and here in the live Zoom as well. So use the chat feature. use your thumbs up emoji if you've got that on your screen. But let's get into the numbers because everybody's here to
Let's get
discuss
into the
nuclear stuff
numbers.
with us. What does it actually mean for
A
me?
lot of detail.
This is the bit I
Uh,
love. Yeah, that's
Starting out
impressive.
on just a couple of dozen mid to long tail merchants to be optimized.
Mm.
Some of them driving revenue, but just not enough. Others supposedly unmonetized. Maybe something for the folks out there, merchants that weren't driving any conversion despite clicks being sent there for UX reasons. Users wanted their product. There's money in that as well. And the result is 129% revenue uplift. For those that deal in a word of 2x, 3x, that's more than 2xing, more than doubling revenue right after that 2-week first training period, which is massive for even, the
Well,
best
it pays for the
publishers.
product. I mean, that's just by implementing the product, it's already doubled their revenue and probably saved them hours of time. I don't know if you've got that quantified in hours, but time is money for me. So if I can save half a day for a person, that means we're half a day more efficient doing something else. So, and it doesn't matter whether you're a huge media publisher or whether you're, somebody that runs a couple of websites, that kind of time is invaluable for you when you're trying to grow and scale your business.
And it's exactly that, yeah, right? The money in the bank truly matters, but to keep getting those audiences back, what ought these teams to spend their time on? Not fixing broken links, not switching intraday link routings for long tail merchants, not cobbling together manual reports. The teams need to be working on building the greatest product for the user and the greatest partnerships with their most important advertisers. Everything else, we argue, and we would, of course, but leave it to a team that has over 40 engineers and product folks on solving the nitty-gritty issue in the backend, so you don't have to. That's really where Nucleus Links comes in.
And that was only over 2 weeks?
This was, we've been trialing this for several months.
Okay.
This was in I think 2 months in is what
2 months in.
saw here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within 2 months, they'd doubled 2x their revenue on stuff that was not being picked up, tracked, lost.
On a bunch of publishers, exactly, that were just that nobody had, sorry, a bunch of merchants that nobody had the time to look into deeply, optimize, fix, because it's just, some of 5,000 merchants, and there's just not a way in the world in which this level of optimization manually is possible for any publisher who's got more than a couple of hundred merchants out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, that's the result. That's what we promise. All we need, importantly, I mentioned the statistical model. This isn't the optimization layer doesn't come from anywhere. It's actual data that gets crunched by Nucleus Links. So all we need is a certain baseline of number of clicks per merchant to be able to really ingest enough training clicks and run that optimization. Once we've got that, say about 50 clicks per merchant per day. Nothing crazy, but that's sort of the baseline level. Then what we just discussed for Zilch is something that we can bring out to all affiliate publishers out there. Be there a buy now, pay later like Zilch, be they a big coupon player working with a growing part of the entire Ziff Davis universe, or content publishers from Daily Mail to Vox, all players we happily work with. Now, where to from here? All that we've seen so far doesn't impact the user experience and user journey in the slightest, doesn't slow it down. User has not the faintest idea which network the click is routed through. User experience stays blissfully unencumbered. They just click, they buy, they're happy, they shop, everybody wins. What we've thought to ourselves, though, is if what you said up front, Leanne, is real, clicks are really under pressure, and I need to maximize the value of each click, then one part of the equation is how much do I make per click? The second part of the equation is how many clicks am I able to generate out of my content? And to be frank, the second part of that equation, how do I present the offers in a more engaging way? How do I just increase click-through rates, quite simply, in a way that fits each particular publisher, their user base, their type of content, is something that we at Nucleus Links obviously have been thinking about for a long time and have sort of made spirited attempts at solving. But part of the reality is also we figured out there was somebody out there in the market who had managed, who focused with a laser sharp focus on just that question. How do I improve user experiences on site to increase click-through rates? And they were just doing it better than us. An incredible team based in Paris and Lille in France. And we've been looking at what they've been building for a long time. We've been building a relationship. And our great news in the last few months has been that we, as part of our M&A strategy, were able to acquire Aphilis, who's working with virtually the entire premium French publishing landscape on just that problem, and now taking their products and capabilities out into the world.
That's amazing. I think I met the guys at PI Live last year. They had a little stand on the corner, I think, and I thought, wow, this is a really cool piece of kit. So yeah, really cool.
Cool piece of kit, cool team, very cool team. All of them staying aboard, so team is ever growing. More on that later. And it's really sort of two parts that belong together, coming together. So just an outlook on what's happening there. Everybody knows how products are presented as either a simple buy now button or some product info, but very often, again, even for the best publishers, this content isn't particularly dynamic. This content isn't using AI to optimize what do I show to which user, given the existing content around in a totally native feel, to optimize conversions. And the answer isn't Aphilis has found out the single best way that any product within commercial content ought to be presented. The answer is, of course, the ever true, it depends. Few elements that can dynamically be auto-created to drive that CTR are, for instance, what's very powerful is historical prices against current prices, merchant comparison, deep product info. So the team at Aphilis has also built what we believe are the most comprehensive product feeds globally, so able to tag deep into dynamic product info and showing the right user the right info on that given product. All the editors have to do is pick the right destination URL for the product, and even, if applicable, enrich it with pros and cons driven by AI for the product. Sometimes the truth is keep it as simple as you can. Audiences and types of publishers really matter. What Aphilis can do is automatically generate shoppable widgets that create that highest possible CDR for you. And if you
do you need to know coding for that? Like how technical, or do you just, is it like plug and play? You just drag and drop what you want the page to look like and what you want the widget to look like, and then it's done?
Great question. So no coding required for this. If you keep it as simple as it possibly could be, it is just the Aphilis JavaScript tag. There is an editor though. So there is a, Canva-like plug and play, what you see is what you get editor, where publishers can build and decide on, of course, one thing is driving the highest possible CTR. Another part is, are we building and showing here what we think fits with our values, style, audience needs? So these can be manually configured and then automatically scaled with the right commercial info, with live inventory information, price information, just making all those things dynamic and real time. Powers not just click-through rates, but also conversions in the end, of course. And that's sort of where those two parts come together. Now, if we say there is a 30 to 120% uplift by doing all the stuff that's nitty-gritty and invisible to the user, and then putting 2x higher click-through rates, so higher click-through rates and higher earnings per click, that's when magic happens, which is why we're so happy to be able to
magic. That's
announce
when
that
money happens.
transaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's where the money happens. That's what we all in. I mean, publishers don't start publishing businesses to not make money. So to me, this is kind of like a no-brainer. If you're at the stage in your publishing business where you are doing a lot of that manual work, where you think you could be missing out on money on the table, this is a tool that can help you to fix all of that.
Precisely. So that's something we're just rolling out. Zilch is one example. Voucher codes, part of Ziff Davis, of course. is also, seeing across over a year now, across dozens of deals and merchants, a consistent 40% uplift on a huge base of business. Voucher codes being, truly one of the primary players out there in the deals and coupon space in Europe. Part of Retail Me Not, we're also just launching out on Nucleus Links. So take away from that being, doesn't matter if you're buy now, pay later, if you're a deal site, if you're a content publisher, or even an LLM, wherever you have users, relevant, under-optimized affiliate volumes, Nucleus Links can jump in and help take away the headache and, how you so beautifully put it, earn more, do less.
And they happen, yeah. So what kind of stage do you need to be at? Like how big of a publisher do you need to be in order to, because my next question is always going to be affordability. Like, is this for everybody? Is this for a publisher starting out, get it in as you're starting to build your business? Or is it a tool more for publishers that are established, but know that they are missing out on revenue and want to close the gap? So who's this product for? What persona is this product for?
The product serves the entire market. We want to be the operating system across all types of sizes to take advantage of smart redirects. I briefly touched on it. You do need a certain volume of clicks, quite simply, say 50 clicks per merchant per day, for our AI engine to really just have enough meat to work with, to turn into value, to churn out those right recommendations for each user at each time of the click. But the other parts of the solution, including analytics, broken link checker, are available to publishers across the spectrum of scale. It is incredibly easy to start working with Nucleus Links, given that no deep technical integration is required. So don't hold back. Reach out to us. I think contact details are out here. Cornelius@affinity.com is open any day. Very excited to hear from anybody. Not locking anybody out of this. We believe the entire market needs a leg up in working smarter, not harder, and earning more.
So can you get started on like a basic package and then upskill to some of the more like bigger functions of the platform, or is it like plug and play? It's like you get
two parts. We even have something, the link checker. We even, as a starter kit, we give out for free for people to start finding out, how easy is it to work on the platform. And then you'd also ask me, how do the economics of this work? How to make sure publishers truly benefit after cost? We put our money where our mouth is in terms of our pricing model. So once people scale from that very simple early starter pack into making serious uplift, we will guarantee that the new money we bring in will always be substantially more than any fees we charge. So what you don't have here is fixed volume or platform charges, regardless of the value we bring. We are so certain we can bring that value that we enshrine that in our deal setup. You will not be paying us more than the new money we bring in. And secondly, no lock-ins ever. Nobody signs 12-month contracts to find themselves in the kind of bait and switch setup that has been observed at some parts of the industry. Whoever want to stop at the end of the month, you stop using the platform, you're out. We want happy clients, not clients who once signed on a dotted line to regret it ever after.
So I've got a question then, and this is just me asking the question. This isn't from the group, but how many affiliates that you work with or publishers that you work with right now work across multiple networks, and how many average networks do these publishers want to integrate into Nucleus Links? Like, are we talking 5 to 10, or are we talking more than 20?
Yeah. So let's dive into the dynamics of that. By now, all of the ones working with us, some examples here, work with 10 plus networks. But at the time of joining us, the average, some of them, let's say 25% of by volume of the players may have worked even with only one network, often a sub network who promises to give you the best of all available. That can be a valid claim, right? Not saying that that's never true. One big point on that one: when Nucleus Links decides where to send that click, those subnetworks are also considered. So if that claim, on any click where that claim is true, where that subnetwork after fees really delivers the highest earning, our click will go to that subnetwork. So not competing with any of the players who say, let me consolidate all networks into one and give you the best of all. They just need to prove their value at the time of the click and make sure they actually have the highest payout. So that's 25% who may have worked with one often subnetwork to start with. And the vast majority of the rest will have had at maximum a handful of networks live, with either no interest to change that or a strong interest to change that, but real concern about the operational headache of adding more networks and uncertainty. How do I really work with CPC networks in a scalable fashion? Whom can I trust? How does it all work? How do I, fix both reporting and collections? And that's something that we then address with our Network Plus product, where at the switch of a button, we give access to over a dozen additional networks, so that all of these players you see here now have access to, on average, more than a dozen networks to pick from on an individual click basis.
Which means that they've got choice. So they've got choice about what offers they can put in place. Now, a lot of these publishers here, they're all in e-commerce. Is that the core kind of like function? So if you're not working in the retail or e-commerce space, this isn't a product for you? Or can this product work for like B2B, for example, or travel or, finance industry? Does it work across lots of different verticals, or does it just work on kind of retail?
It works across lots of different verticals. Travel is a strong example, as is finance. The only thing that needs to be out there is to have a meaningful existing affiliate business. These just happen to be truly some of the largest players out there, so represented here. But anybody who's got a use case or a special type of commerce publishing business wondering if this is a fit, let's talk.
And what about programs that have their own internal platform and aren't actually on a network? Can you add those types of partners in over and above what you're plugging into through the network?
Yes, we can. The one limitation being for now, but that's probably where we should check in again in another couple of months, is cashback and loyalty logics and sort of CPC dynamics in that space make the smart redirects bidding logic more complicated, because there's another element of the payouts. Happy to go into more detail, but that's the one exception. Own programs is something that we can also sign up.
Okay, cool. All right, so that brings us to the end of our session today. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this, that you've got a better understanding of what Nucleus Links is and what it actually does. If you are a publisher and you're interested, I think I heard you say that there would be a free trial. So can you tell people about that?
Absolutely. There is some core functionality like the broken links tracker that you get for free anyway. For everything else, we run a free 30-day trial.
Okay.
Which means that before we ever charge you anything, you get to see the actual uplift as a publisher before we even say, let's get this contractualized. That's a 30-day free trial, which we're happy to get people. There's a small waiting list at the moment for those trials. So the faster you reach out, the more likely we are going to be able to sign you up for that. And speaking of that waiting list, in the logic of marketplaces, at the moment, demand on the commercial side almost outstrips supply. What I mean by that is we're growing the team. We are particularly looking for great commercial and business development leaders across continental Europe, UK, and the US for senior roles, helping us drive growth for and with our clients. So if new year, new me is something that for you or some of your friends in the industry rings true, I'd love to talk.
All right, guys, so there you've had it. We've not only taught you how to improve the profitability of your publisher business, we've educated you on all the things that you're missing out on. We've given you a free trial to actually get a link checker, which will also help you to improve your revenue, if nothing else. And if you're quick, you can get a 30-day free trial to actually test and measure how much money you're missing out on month to month. So I don't think we can pack anything much more than that into this, 45-minute session. I want to thank you so much for coming on and actually just explaining all the areas that Nucleus Links can help publishers with. I want to thank you for taking the time to explain how all of this works because a lot of people are getting nervous about what next year might hold. This is a golden opportunity for you guys to improve your publisher revenue by doing less and implementing a simple tool that can help you get more. So it's been a pleasure to host you all here today. If you've got any questions, you can email Cornelius at affinity.com. It's up on the screen. Get in touch with their team. Have a little demo if you want to ask more questions that are relevant to your business or to your product or service that you're offering as a publisher. And yeah, just thanks for being here with us today. It's been a really, really insightful chat.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your questions. And thank you for putting this together, Leanne.
Yeah,
Really
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
And we got a hand clap, so I think we did a good job. Cheers, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. If you're on the LinkedIn channel, I'm pretty sure my team will do a replay of this on affiversemedia.com, but you can get in touch with Cornelius and his team directly as well. I know he answers messages on LinkedIn because he's answered me there before. So you really don't have any excuse not to get in touch with these guys and actually find out more about the product that they've brought to market, which to me, if I was a publisher, it would be a no-brainer. I'd be implementing the links checker at least, or link scanner at least, on day one of my business. So thank you so much for being here, guys. It's been a pleasure to host you again today, and we look forward to seeing you on more of our webinars in future.